Hi everyone, and welcome back to our one of the most awaited FinAccTing podcasts with Alex. Now, who is Alex? I will let Alex give his introduction. But before we do that, if this is the first time you've come to the channel, thank you so much for all your love, support, comments. Yes, we have been, there is a slight delay on doing this podcast because Alex is traveling all the way from the UK. But I assure you, all the insights that Alex is going to share today is definitely worth the wait. So over to you, Alex. Thank you so much for taking out time from such an hectic schedule, because of course I understand that coming all the way from the UK and then taking time out, visiting, the studio, we truly appreciate it. So thank you so much for taking that time out. So over to you, Alex. Would you like to tell our viewers that, what you do and, anything and everything about you, and especially at least one thing that many don't know about you?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to see you and to be here in FPA. We're working with you, where we have your former students as employees, which is amazing. We're really enjoying working with them. They're very professional. And as we are growing, we are hoping to see more employees who are being trained by you, because the level of training is very good, and we can rely on quality of the skills. So, that's really great. Yeah. So, just briefly about me and about my practice. I'm a founder of Liberate Accountants. It's I don't say it's a UK-based practice, because we are based in the UK and in India.
Super.
So in our practice, we do not like word outsourcing, because we are not outsourcing. We just have a team across the border, and we are working on mostly UK clients.
Lovely.
So that's what we do. We are providing different accounting services, including accounts, compliance, bookkeeping, management accounts, working with individuals, like all scope of what you can imagine accounting practice should do. Speaking of one thing about myself, which you don't know, if I say that I like Bombay burger, it probably, you already know that. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yes. But what, I thought about it, what I can say, which you don't know, and it's a confession, not many people know about it. Once I failed ACCA exam.
Ah, lovely. Lovely.
Yes, so I had the second sitting. So what I'm trying to say here is, and I'm still doing well, so do not be discouraged if you fail the exam. It just means that you will become better at the second sitting.
Super.
So, yeah.
No, thank you so much, Alex, for sharing. I'm so glad you shared that, because, one of the key objectives of doing this podcast is to make sure that students understand the nuances of program or a course like ACCA. And it's not straightforward. It's not easy. It cannot be done in 6 months like a lot of people, assume, right? So no, thank you so much for that introduction. And yes, you're absolutely correct. FPA has been, is extremely lucky to have partners like yourself, and we work continuously together to make sure that you get the much required resources, or the team members, and our students get the much needed employment. So thank you so much for, continuing to put your faith in us. Like I've been telling you, the objective is to share the story, to tell the students, what was your life like? And to that effect, the first question really is, why ACCA?
I started my ACCA journey quite late. I was in my mid-30s, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. Before that, because I was working mostly in industry, and I didn't need any professional qualification. Yeah, and it was not a problem for me.
Okay.
But at some point, I decided that I want to start my own practice, and obviously I had a choice. Yeah, there are plenty of different routes, a lot of different routes actually. So, why ACCA? There are 2 points. First of all, ACCA is an international one. Wherever you are, or wherever you want to go, because, let's say you want to work in India. Yeah. Then at some point in your life, you may say, I kind of want to go and work in Canada, in Australia,
Exactly.
in the UK. Yeah. So ACCA is an international body. Wherever you go, they will know ACCA, and it will be recognized. So your qualification will be recognized. That's one very important point. The second important point, as I said, I started ACCA relatively, let's say, late. I don't know. Yeah, I was I was already a professional at this point of time. If you are working full time, if you are a busy manager, ACCA gives you flexibility.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I just given an example to my team yesterday, illustrating, like in ACCA, we have this SMART framework.
Exactly.
Yep. So, and I tried to illustrate what is achievable, what is not achievable.
Great.
And my example was, like, you are working full time, you are a manager, and you are trying to set a goal to pass ACCA exams for yourself. And you say, I will pass 4 exams a year. Is it achievable or not? Probably I would say it's achievable, but it's very difficult
It
to
is
achieve.
difficult.
It's not very realistic, yeah. So if you say 2, I would say that's unachievable, that's a good goal, yeah. So that's why ACCA, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. No, thank you so much. A couple of very important things that's come out. One is that you did start your ACCA journey in your 30s. And typically in India, people think that, that is probably the time to start a family, to probably start to settle down, to have kids, etc. But you did a bold decision of starting to study again, which is, of course, a big lesson for a lot of working professionals who want to just give up on studies and, be complacent in whatever they are doing, right? So that's a very important lesson there. And secondly, something that we also constantly tell people is that do not assume that ACCA is easy and then you can do, 4 papers, 6 papers, 10 papers in a year. Take your time. It's not a race. Yeah. Maybe 1 paper every quarter is very much doable. Maybe as long as you can focus on that 1 paper, yes, it's doable. Otherwise, as Alex said, even 2 papers, if you're getting through in a year, it's not a bad thing. All right, great. No, thank you so much for answering that. So, you mentioned that, you already were a professional even before you started doing ACCA. So could you maybe share what exactly were you doing, where it all started from? Were you always in the UK or, did you move to the UK in later years? How did all that happen?
Yeah. I was born in Russia.
Okay,
yes.
Great.
So, and I started my career as a cost accountant.
Mm-hmm.
I was working for years as a cost accountant in various industries. I was working in a factory producing windows and doors, then a sausage factory.
Wow.
After that, I didn't eat sausages for a while.
Does it look like you ate a lot of them?
Yes. Yeah. So, mayonnaise factory. I mean, it was mostly food industry for some reason. I'm just trying to recall. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I was kind of close to food industry all the way through, probably because I do like to eat, So,
probably like me.
Yeah. So as a cost accountant, I mean, the cost accountant is a position where you can work inside the company. Yeah. Like I was growing eventually. I ended up as a CFO in a large group in energy construction industry.
Okay.
So, which was quite a challenge because it was a big group, 17 companies scattered all around the country. So,
wow.
And quite demanding in terms of traveling, and obviously responsibility as well. So at some point, we all, I started the family. So, and I start thinking, do I want to try something else, So, and my idea was I want to do accounting. It's what I do like. It's what I enjoy. And hopefully it can be well paid.
Wow.
So obviously 3 conditions for a good job.
Of course.
Definition of a good job. Yeah. So And also, a very important point that, running your own practice gives you independence.
Of course.
If you are working in a big group or big company, you are a part of the, let's say, a cog in a bigger machine. I'm not saying that it's not enjoyable. It's very enjoyable, but sometimes you want to do something different.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I moved to the UK and I started my ACCA route. So that's how it did work. Yeah. It's also worth to say, because you mentioned that some professionals in their 30s, they think, oh, it's too late.
True.
It will be do I really need it? Or look, it's a question if you really need it, yes. But if you think that you need it, just go ahead, because you already have all the information in your head. You already know how things work. What ACCA is good at is to give you the system and the framework when you can put your knowledge and you can be even more efficient than you are right now.
True.
Yeah, it's a big boost to your confidence, to structuring your approach, and you can be much more productive.
Wow. No, thank you so much, Alex. And to be honest, my next question was going to be that why practice? But I do feel that you've been able to answer a lot of things around it, especially, you have a freedom, you can really decide how to go about things. You can really, give time to your family, not to forget about the monies, right? There's everything.
The only thing is worth to mention, about freedom, so you have obviously freedom to work extra hours.
Of course.
like as usual, freedom is there.
Yeah, you don't have to work for anyone else now, but you are having to work for yourself.
You're having to work for yourself, but you still have to work. That's truth of life. Yeah.
No, but I truly, and to be fair, I relate so much to it because I also come from a background. I was working for big, MNCs like EY and UBS, etc. And then when I moved from there into the academics at FPA, right? And while I probably am putting in more hours, but the kind of satisfaction that you get, even after putting 7 days in a week, is just unmatched, right?
Absolutely different.
So I think the key takeaway from what we're discussing right now is that anyone who's out there who's thinking that I don't know if I can really start my own thing, please do not think so much. Go for it. It is always going to be rewarding. Of course, do your risk and return and do your analysis before you take the plunge. But I have Alex here, I have myself here. We took the plunge and you can see that it has been rewarding, right?
Yes.
Great, lovely. So coming to your practice, because I'm very interested, and I'll tell you why I'm very interested in India, of course, because we have our own chartered accountancy CA degree, which is here. And unfortunately, it is only the chartered accountants who pass out of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India who can set up their own practice in India. That's the rule here. So a lot of students who are doing ACCA, they feel, I cannot set up my own practice, right? And they do feel somewhere or the other, missing out on all the action that a practice or someone who can own a practice goes through. So my next set of questions are going to be around practice. So the first thing is that, what are all the things that you are doing under your current firm?
Yes. I will briefly describe the services, and I just want to say some things which are probably unique what we are doing, or not that common on the market.
Sure.
Again, if you want to start your own practice, think about what is your unique selling point.
True.
Because if you will be another of 1,000
one of many,
you need to be certain that what is it you are doing very well. So what we are and what you are enjoying as well. Yeah. So without enjoyment, there cannot be anything, I believe. Yeah. So we are enjoying working with growing companies, with scale ups, with startups, because we can really add the value. We are helping our clients, and it's not just accounting. It's not just the bookkeeping, We're helping clients to structure their budgets, their plans, their financial forecasts, to give them visibility of what's going on with their company. And that obviously my previous experience as a cost accountant in all different kind of factories, wholesalers, etc., helps a lot, because it's not just about filing the report, it's about giving the client understanding how his company works.
True.
Yeah, and helping them grow, because obviously small companies has one kind of problems. Scaling up companies and startups, they have much more complicated problems.
Got it.
Yeah. Also, we have like an expertise in integration between bespoke software, which a lot of especially modern developing firms which are working in e-commerce, online trading, etc., they do work their own bespoke systems.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we want this information end up in an accounting system.
Mm-hmm.
And as previously it was like very manual process.
Got it.
We can help to automate it and to move this data flow smoothly from one system to another, and to help client to find out the most cost efficient and also reporting efficient software.
Got it.
What you hear may not sound like an accountant, but that's a modern account.
Exactly.
That's what we do in modern accounting world.
Exactly.
We cannot just be accountant as an accountant.
Exactly. You have to use the technology.
Yes,
you have to leverage technology right from point zero. Right? No, great. No, and I'm so glad that you are mentioning all these things to our viewers, because I can assure you that almost anyone out there, as soon as when they hear practice, they think it is audit. And they think you just have to sign off, and there's nothing else that, the people who run a practice do. And I've constantly said this to people, the practice at the end of the day is also a business which can provide multiple services. You don't have to really focus on doing one part of the business, which is signing off financials, because yes, in India, you can't sign off the financials, but there are so many other things like we were discussing earlier. You can do CFO services, right? You can do FP&A, you can do budgeting, forecasting, you can do tax, consulting, which does not require you to have a license or something like that, right? So there are so many things that you can do which does not need a license for you to sign off the financials. And I think that's probably one of the key takeaways maybe that I want students to take.
Like I don't know how in India it works. Like in the UK, if you want to have your own practice, licensed by ACCA,
yes,
there are two different ways. One way is you can have audit license, which obviously has its own requirements, and another is a public practice license, which I have.
Lovely.
So the public practice license, it's an easier route, let's say. It's not as long as the audit route, and like the requirements are a bit less. Although, if I can just say it, I am recommending my team, if they're taking ACCA route, to get audit exam.
Wow. Okay.
Even though they may not want to be auditors.
Okay.
Because first of all, it will not limit them at the end of the day. If they will want to be auditors at some point, it is worth to have it. And also, the audit techniques are extremely useful for any accountant. Because it gives you a quick way to check the numbers, and your approach will be more structured. So in my team, I'm always recommending our students to guys take audit.
Got it.
After P2, I think.
Yes. So in the professional level.
Yes, in the professional level.
Yes. But it's one of the optional papers. So you're absolutely correct. So no, this is again very, very important that if anyone wants to go the audit route and they want to practice eventually, audit is one paper that they should definitely go for. No, great. So again, building up on the same thing. So let's say if someone wants to start their own practice, right? What is it that you think, one will take to actually have their own practice? What is your experience been?
So, it's an interesting question, because we just had a chat with my directors about it here, and it was what we discussed is interestingly, you are becoming less of an accountant, but a bit of IT, a bit of HR, a bit of understanding legal framework and kind of, the company's law, etc., etc. So you need to know all those things to be able to operate. Because there are plenty of softwares to pick from, there are plenty of consultants, etc. But you need to understand deeply how things work to set up a practice. Because practice is not just accounting. Yeah, and of course, the major point of starting a practice is your sales. So if you don't have a plan for sales, that's bad. Yeah. Exactly. So you need to think how you will promote yourself. What is your unique selling point? What is it you are good at? Yeah. So what you are offering to the client. So it's not like you open an office and people will come. You need to attract attention. That's yeah.
Wow, great. So again, I think point comes back to the fact that the practice runs like any other business. You need to make sure how do you scale up.
Yes.
Right. And you need to have all the elements that any other business will have, be it HR, be it technology, right? You need the right kind of people, right? So you need all of that, right? So coming to the people then, if someone is, let's say, working in a practice, what are some of the key skills that you think they need?
Depends on the role.
Okay.
Yeah, there are different roles and people are specializing in different roles. Depends on their preferences.
Sure.
Yeah, we have a compliance side of things, which is a regular compliance reporting, preparation of accounts in accordance to standards. Depends on the country or even of the size of the client. Or we have more management accounts side of things where you do bookkeeping, where you prepare management accounts and you are providing this information to the client. So they obviously require different skill sets.
Super.
And different specialization. But if we think like broadly, and it may sound not kind of conventional, let's say, but the communication skill is very important.
Wow.
So if you can communicate with client, with colleagues, then you will figure out the way. Yeah. So then we like I always say to my team, don't be worried about not knowing specifics of the taxation. I will provide you with training. You will have this very quickly. So you can have this knowledge easily. But to develop your communication skills, it's trickier. And also double entry, journal entry. That's a kind of a fundamental skill.
True.
Fundamental skill which is required, and it's required deeply hardwired in your brain, basically. You need to write it without even thinking about it. So I always say to my team, and I would say to any student who is doing ACCA, you just go around the street, you see the shop, think about it. What is the double entry they should do to account for what they are doing?
Wow.
Yeah. So then you will start looking at the world through accounting, kind of, glass of accounting. I don't know how to call it.
No, I fully agree with you, because I think that's the only way you can truly understand the beauty of accounting, unless and until you don't get the double entries. And I've seen this myself, even, when I was back in the day when I was working in industry, some of the senior professionals at the month end or at a quarter end, at a year end, when, we are having to pass an entry, I'm asking them, okay, can we do that? Oh, what would be a debit and what would be a credit? So obviously it's very, very fundamental. So guys, look, if you are watching this even until now, please make sure that if you want to work in a practice, in any kind of accounting firm, you need to have your fundamental knowledge, which is your accounting entries, and very importantly, the communication, because that's probably something which is, if not more, equally important.
Absolutely.
in the industry today. So probably a couple of last questions now. One is, because you have almost a majority of your team in India, would you say?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
great.
yes.
So do you think that this is going to continue? And what do you think is the future of this industry? Do you think this is going to continue to grow? What are the trends that you see? Are there new types of business going to come in? Do you think there will be newer skills that will be required in this industry? Do you have any kind of insight on that?
I think that the growth will continue because the number of businesses is growing.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but the businesses are changing. So we have discussed already the role of technology. Yeah. We all know about artificial intelligence, which is coming, and but the approach of artificial intelligence also boosts the businesses as well. So there are more businesses which are using it. There are more clients who need a good advice.
True.
Which they will never get from artificial intelligence. At least not at the foreseeable future.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. So what I personally think that the compliance side of thing may stay around the same. And with artificial intelligence, the productivity of accountants will grow. Yeah. So, in terms of producing accounts, in terms of audit analysis, for example, yeah. But the advisory part will definitely grow, and it cannot be easily replaced by artificial intelligence.
Got it.
So that's why I said that, our focus, obviously, the compliance is a part of the business, and it's an important part. But we're also focusing in providing advice, explaining our clients. Giving them some ideas how to structure accounts, how to have management information regularly available, how to see and how to manage your company finances. That area will grow, especially because small companies were not able to afford it previously. But now with all technology coming, we can provide it even to smaller companies. So you don't need to be a multinational corporation to have a decent level management accounts because we have technology. So your question is technology again. Yeah. So accounting and technology together will I think be a growing area.
Wow. Okay, great. So look, students, if you are really wanting to make a career, make sure that you are focusing not just on the accounting, but on the technology side of things as well, right? Because without the technology, you can only do so much in the accounting world. And like you rightly said, we should not be scared of technology. I think we should adopt the technology.
We should embrace it.
Exactly. We should embrace it because it's only going to augment what you do rather than limit what you do. No, so that's a fantastic answer. Thank you so much, Alex. So really the final question then from you, Alex, what will be your final message to the ACCA community, especially the ACCA India community, because you're already working with a few of our students, who are already ACCAs. What is your message to them?
Okay, so I have two actually.
Sure.
So the first one is, if you can, do not take exemptions. Look, I mean, that's a joke.
Wow.
So, but look.
Look, you have a strong supporter here, so don't worry about it.
Okay. We have discussed fundamentals.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see that students are jumping over fundamentals, and then, they pass other exams, even P level, but in your real life, the first thing you will start doing is not multi-currency consolidation and accounting for goodwill for international companies straight away out of the box from the day one. It's not what you're going to do, okay?
True.
So you need to have your fundamental understanding of the double entry, and overall you need to be able to imagine your trial balance in your head and figure out how things work. That's ultimately a very important thing. Yeah.
Super.
And the second is, with ACCA, it's not an easy way. It's not an easy way. Especially the last 3-4 exams, they are not easy. I was always academically strong, and I thought, exams, I do enjoy exams. Yeah. So, and I did enjoy them, but they were enjoyable in a way they were hard.
Yeah.
They were hard. Yeah. So, so work hard.
Yeah.
Work hard. That's one thing. And when you start working, try to make yourself useful. Those two things, I think they are key for any success.
Super. No, thank you. Thank you so much, Alex. Honestly, I don't even realize how this half an hour has quickly run by us. But thank you so much for all the brilliant insights, especially around the practice, because I can assure you, there are so many out there, especially in India, who want to know how they can set up their own practice or what are the things that they can do in a practice. And this half an hour of our conversation can definitely give them a jump start. But for anyone who wants to get into a practice, I can also tell you, I can take the liberty here that Alex is very active on LinkedIn. So please feel free to reach out to him on LinkedIn. And yes, if you still have any questions, please drop us a comment. And we will be more than happy to come back to you. On that note, thank you so much. And thank you once again, Alex, to coming here.
All pleasure is mine.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.